Hello and welcome to episode 59 of Daryl Show Your Work. In this episode, I'm going to be conducting some banner grabbing using the nmap tool. All right, so it's not really an offensive security related task. I mean, it could be used for blue teaming and red teaming, but I'm still going to preface this like I do in any of my red teaming videos anyway. So just this is for ethical and research purposes only. Any sort of malicious actions that may come from us directly or indirectly from someone watching my videos, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. With that said, let's get started. So before jumping into how we could use nmap to banner grab, I wanted to um, show some alternative techniques that we can do if we wanted to, excuse me, if we wanted to see our IP address. All right, so instead of traditionally doing a IF config, what we could simply do here is do IP and then addr. All right, all right, so it pretty much gives us the same information that IF config does, but it gives us a little more. So the IP command is actually intended to replace the IF config command. So on some Linux distributions, the IF config command has already been removed, but on Kali, it's still in existence. Um, the IP command, all the it has all the functions provided by the IF config plus a bit more. Um, so if we look at this, it looks like that I'm actually using Ethernet 0 interface, and my IP address here, if we take a look, is 192.168.10.25. And again, it gives us our MAC address. Um, what other good things that it has here for us? Gives us our cider mask. So again, just an example of some differentiating things that it gives us opposed to just a simple IF config. All right. So another thing that I wanted to show is going to require me to actually be a root user. So to switch over to root user, I'm gonna say sudo and then su for switch user. All right, I need to give it my password. So all right, now I'm running as a root. All right, so I want to run something called netdiscover, which is another utility that we could use to locate other hosts on our Ethernet 0 interface that we're working on, which is our local network. So what I'm going to put in here, I'm going to say net discover, and I mean this is opposed to doing like an IP sweep. I'm gonna say dash I to specify the interface, and we're on Ethernet 0, and then I'm going to use my IP address that we just seen up here. All right, so it knows which network to look in. All right, so I'm gonna hit enter there, and so it's going to find. So what it's going to do is going to list out some other hosts that are up on my network. All right, so it looks like it's finished. So I am going to type Q to exit. All right. So it looks like we actually have five, or besides myself, because remember I am well, no, no, actually it's six machines up. Myself, I'm not listed on here, so it excluded my name, and it looks like there's five other machines available on here. So, and also, I'm sorry, also we could see that it's listing not just the IP addresses, but also the MAC addresses of those IP addresses. So think of it kind of like also as a ARP scan as well, which we use to find the MAC addresses associated with IP addresses. All right, so the next thing that I can do is I'm gonna run an nmap scan, and I'm gonna run an nmap scan on my CIDR mask as a means to compare the results as far as running machines that's up. So it's making sure that my netdiscover making sure that it basically found all the machines or all the hosts that are up on my network, and then I also want to see what ports are open on these machines. All right, so I'm gonna do nmap. And some of these nmap scans that I may be that I'm going to run, um, it may be those may be already may be familiar with if you watched my prior videos, but some I didn't cover in those videos, so I'm just going to just cover as much as I can on this one, and before jumping into banner grabbing, and you'll see that a few of these will actually be very relevant to this when I get to the whole banner grabbing grabber band grab banner grabbing aspect of things. Excuse my slip of the tongue. All right, so I'm telling nmap here to run a scan, a discovery scan on my entire CIDR mask, and I want it to output its findings to a normal file called host.discover.nmap. And the reason I'm adding this is I just want those watching just to get used to just documenting your findings and just showing just an easy way of how we can document any type of discoveries we make, just to have those documents ready in order to show it to whoever else needs to see it, or to save it wherever we need to save it, or to feed it into whatever other system we need to feed it into. So I'm gonna hit enter, and we're just going to give it a few seconds here. All right, so let's see what we got here. So let's do some comparisons here as far as the devices that it found. All right, so we have devices. If we look at our original scan here, we have dot one, dot four, dot 10, dot 17, and dot 31. So dot one, all right. So we have dot one in this open ports. We have dot four, which has its open ports. We're scrolling down. Dot 10. Dot 10 has a lot of ports open. Dot 17 and dot 31, and of course dot 25, which is us. So no surprises there. So again, that's how you would use nmap to scan an entire network interface, and to see not only who's up, but to see what ports they have open. Now let's say we want to know what operating systems all of these guys are running. All right, so what we can do here is I'm gonna add a dash capital O flag. All right, and this is going to return to me. It's going to return to me. Um, Ideally, what OS that it's going to the operating system that each one of these devices is running. But there's a caveat to that, and once I'm done running, I'll show you what the caveat is. So I'm just going to modify my document name here to OS detection. All right. All right, let's let that run. All right. So let me scroll up a little bit just to start from the top of the scan. And I want to show you what the caveat is with this with some of these devices. Okay, so we can see that right here is telling us it's telling us the operating system and you see where it says aggressive OS guess where it has Freebird BSD, and we get down here and it says running just guessing Microsoft Windows 2019 10 XP, and it gives the percentages. So the thing about OS scans, i- if um some of the ports that are necessary to get the more accurate um um results are closed, then it'll give you its best guess as far as what those operating systems are based on the ports that were open that it was actually able to scan. So that's why you have, it using terms like guessing different percentages. So it's giving you different percentages of the likelihood of the operating system that that machine may be running. So OS scans, they can kind of as far as their dependability, it varies. All right. And so the next thing I want to run is a service scan. So I want to be able to nmap to come back and tell me what particular versions of the protocols are running on each port. All right, and this is relevant when it comes to trying to find vulnerabilities, because certain versions or certain legacy versions of protocols are vulnerable to specific CVEs or specific exploits. So that would be something very relevant to look for when doing any sort of enumeration or recon activity. All right, so we're going to do service version here, and I'm going to change my output file, change that up, and I'm just going to say name it service version. All right, give it a few seconds here. All right. So as we can see, it's telling us not only what ports are open, but what protocols are using, and then it gives an extra category here. For example, in this last, well, for us, this is our IP address. It's saying that it's using OpenSSH 9.6 P1 for Debian distributions of Linux, and we could see kind of um, similar entries up here for other devices and their protocols. Again, we can see as far as the HTTP, the web server is using Microsoft IIS HTTPD 10.0, and then for port 135, which is another SMB type of a port, is running Microsoft Windows RPC, and et cetera, et cetera. Then we can see up here with the DNS port 53 simple DNS plus. So again, way that we can enumerate um, our um, our targets and know what versions of what open protocols they're using if we wanted to target specific versions. All right, now just to forewarn you, this is going to be the longest scan out of the long scans that I've already done. And this is going to be a scan that's going to combine all of the operations that I just talked about. So it's going to combine the OS scan, the service version scan, and several other type of scans, send scans, TCP scans. It combines several different versions of it. And the flag for that is a simple capital A as in all. All right, and then so I'm going to name this the output that I get for this. I'm going to just call it combined dash OP. Okay. Shouldn't be too long, but just to forewarn you, it's going to be a bit long. Just because the breadth of information is going to give us back. But I just wanted to show us this, just to show you different enumeration techniques and different methods in which we get as much detail as possible on any host that we find up on a network when doing recon activity. And I'm thinking this, given how we're combining everything, I think the other we got a few more other nmap scans to go, but the rest of them shouldn't be as long as this or the previous ones that I've done, since they're more specific and more targeted and directed. All right. So see, you can see that we have some encryption keys here for us, our SSH, um, and then it's showing different information on the operating system, the version of the protocol. So like I said, just everything, trace route. So basically telling us how many hops as far as the time to live packet. So it's giving us a lot of information. I'm not going to scroll further up. But I mean, just looking at this one entry for my IP address here, um, this is just the level of the granularity of the information that that is displaying. All right, so the next type of scan that I wanted to do is I wanted to run a scan on a specific range of ports instead of just um, looking for any port. Let's say I know specifically what ports I want to check to see are open. So in order to do that, I'm going to actually specify my target this time. We're not going to check all the targets. So again, this should go by a bit more quickly. So let's target .10 since it had a bunch of those ports open. All right. And let's tell it that we want to look for ports ranging between 80 and 180. All right. And then I'm going to change my document name here. Just simply. 180. All right. So let's run that and let's see what the output is. All right. So you can see there that our output is giving us a port range that again that's between that 80 and 180. So we can see starting at port 88, which is associated with um um I don't want to jack the name of the protocol, Kerberos. Basically, that's for authentication methodology. It's a ticket granting system. Um, and then our POP3, which is associated with our email, and then so on and so on. But basically, it gives us that range of ports that we're Kuberus. That's what I was trying to think of. Sorry. It gives us that range of protocols and ports that range between 80 and 180. So it's only giving us the information that we're looking for. That's how you narrow down and specify the ports that you're looking for when it comes to a specific target. So if we two, let's say that I wanted to not just a port range, but let's say that I wanted to just look for the most popular, most commonly used ports. All right, so I'm looking for common ports that are open. So how I would do that, I would just insert in here dash dash and right top, and we're using the scripting engine here, ports 30. All right. So this is telling Nmap that, hey, just give me the most commonly used ports and give me the top 30. All right. So I'm going to delete this portion right here. All right, then we're going to rename our output file. Let's call it host.top-30. All right, dash 30. Okay. All right, let's get that running. All right, so we have those list of ports, and so it's giving us the status of those. So anytime we see the term filter, that means that more than likely there's some type of firewall um, behind that, and not allowing traffic there. So when we sent those send packets, they were essentially dropped, and that Nmap is coming back and telling us that that's what's going on. Okay, so if I one last a scan to go here before I jump into the banner grabbing, and let's say I wanted to do a host discovery on our network, but I didn't want to detect any open ports. I wanted to skip where I wanted to skip the part where it's where Nmap sends those send scans for port discovery, and I just wanted to see, hey, who's up here. All right, so I'm going to run that and go back to a prior, see, running here in our history. All right, and I'm going to replace this A with a S in. All right, and then we're going to once again we're going to scan our entire CIDR mask, and then I'm going to name this scan no port. Oops. All right. So to explain to you what the SN is doing, so that perimeter is performing a host discovery by using an ICMP ping, which I mean it's just I mean it's pretty standard ping, without performing the port scanning. All right, so you can see we got some responses back here. Um, the thing about doing this type of scan is that it's not really considered reliable as far as a host discovery as some computers think often because of, let's say, local firewalls. They tend to be configured to ignore and not respond to ping echo requests. So if someone has that type of, they have, if you remember a previous video I did a while ago where we didn't allow pings, or we had to set up a IP table to actually allow pings. If that's not done, then Nmap would have to rely on that send scan to be able to detect that those open ports in order to conduct that host discovery and not just rely on a ping. All right. So it's kind of like, think of it as like the opposite of the dash capital P N scan, where with that particular scan, you're not using the ICMP ping, but you're just relying on the send scan. So this is like the opposite of that. All right, now let's get into some banner grabbing. So I've been saying this term banner grabbing all through the video here. So some may be wondering, what is banner grabbing? So what banner grabbing is a technique that collects information about software, services, and versions from network hosts by capturing the banner a service sends when a connection is made. All right, so I'm gonna show a way of how to some ways of how to automate that, and then I'm going to show ways of how we can manually grab a banner. All right, so the first thing that I want to do as far as banner grabbing is we're gonna target a port 80, since ideally with banner grabbing we like to do that when it comes to web-based hosts. So I am going to target, let me go back here, and I'm going to do P and then 80. All right, and this is going to just do an nmap scan on all the devices on my network that have port 80 open. I want to see not only who's up, but I want to see who has port 80 open. And the reason that I'm doing this is because port 80 again is a plain text unencrypted protocol, and it's ideal for exploitation, or ideal for enumeration when it comes to trying to grab the banner. All right, so I'm going to rename this output. See, let's call it plain text dash 80. All right, and this should only give me back all relevant information for port 80 on all of these servers. Was not server, all of these devices. All right, so if we look at our list here, let's start from the top, since it's not a very verbose amount of information here. So if we look at we look at um, dot one, which could very well be the gateway that has port 80 open. But if we continue down, it looks like everybody else is either filtered or 17 has it open. 17 has it open. So 1 and 17 has port 80 open. Everyone else has it filtered or closed. So see, the next thing that I can do here is, let's say I wanted to target I wanted to target dot one, that the device that lives on dot one. I want to target that, and I want to see that HTTP version that it's running. Just want to do a service scan on that. So in order to do that, let's go back in my history here. All right, I'm going to change this up to just target one, and I'm going to say port 80, and then I want to do a service scan. All right, and then I'm going to call this. Let's see, what do I want to call this? I'm going to just call it Microsoft vScan as a version. All right, dash vScan. All right. All right, so we can see that the HTTP version is running is Nginx, and then we can see what the MAC address is. So this would be sort of an automated way in which we can specifically banner grab um, um, on a singular device here, and we're automating that by the use of using Nmap. So, but let's say we wanted to perform a manual banner grab. How would we do that? So we can do that with using a netcat listener. All right. So what I'm going to do is give me a quick second. Just making sure. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set up netcat listener, and we're going to target um, the same device at 168.10.1. All right, then we're gonna listen up port 80. All right, then once I start this, I need to immediately um, um, run this, and then request the header information once I start up netcat listener. So I'm going to start that up. Oops, see, didn't mean to paste that much of it in there. Okay, let me try that again. All right, starting up netcat listener. Okay, so no, okay, that was the right, um, that was the right thing, making sure that I was getting the right output back. So again, it gives us that same information that that the nmap scan gave us. So it's telling us again that the server is using is nginx, um, and it's and again it's telling us that you know, the date and time, and you know, it's giving us, it looks like it's giving us less information than, okay, if I go scroll up, it's not giving us that MAC address, or that MAC address, or the, you know, the VMware software, that it looks like it's, you know, running on a hypervisor or a virtual instance. But it's still giving us the information we're looking for, and that's how you would be able to get that banner, do a manual grabbing of a banner. So that brings me to the end of my video. So just give a high level overview of what was done. Just showed some alternative means in which we could obtain our own IP address by using our IP addr command, which is seems to be the newest means that Linux is using to show that information, and phasing out ifconfig, but it's still, ifconfig is still being used in Kali Linux. And then I also show how we can use the netdiscover command as far as locating other hosts that are up on our local network, as opposed to doing like a ping sweep. And also just the different variations of nmap scans that we can use, as far as enumerating different aspects of our targets, as far as operating systems they use, the versions of protocols of the open or the open ports that are being used, then how we could combine all the various scans into one single scan, and then looking at particular just ranges of ports, or the most commonly used ports, and then how we can also use an nmap scan to scan without doing a ping of the server to see if it's up, which is not necessarily uh, recommended that we just rely on the ping. I'm sorry, by just relying on the ping and not on the send scan, because some networks have ping, being able to ping certain servers or certain devices that have that feature either filtered or turned off. And then I jumped into banner grabbing, which I showed how we could do that automatically using Nmap, and then also how we could do that manually using a Netcat listener. So please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.